Hey guys, I wanted to take some time to respond to this discussion and talk about the four most provocative parts that I found within the reading. Um, First and foremost, I read it said, finally, some schools refuse to take responsibility for student learning, instead, opting to blame kids, parents, lack of funding, or society in general for students' failures. I have actually experienced this a lot. A lot of the time, teachers try. I mean, it's very hard to teach all students and have all students learn and progress. I'm a teacher, so I get it, but I think a lot of the time teachers start blaming the student's background or, oh, they don't have support at home, so that's why they're failing. And it just becomes this whole spiral of reasons why a student isn't succeeding. And a lot of the time, we just have to take a step back and realize that students learn differently, and we can't start pointing the fingers and blaming different things. And just, in my opinion, stereotyping. I hate to use that word, but I feel like I see it and hear it a lot in education, and it's very unfortunate. Also, one big thing that the article touched upon was how teachers have to make sure that they touch upon so many standards in teaching that a lot of it's rushed. And I have experienced this so much in teaching. I am an SAI, which is equivalent to an RSP. So in my class, I can take my time with my students, and I kind of get stressed out because I feel my students are so behind the general education curriculum and we're moving so slow. And I try to kind of pick up the pace, and then they start kind of failing. And so I feel I'm in this kind of hard place where, should I push so I can be farther because I don't want the principal to feel that I'm not moving fast enough, or should I just take my time and assure that they're learning? And I have also experienced this in my co-taught class, where it's a gen ed class and I'm in there for support, and it's me and another teacher and we're balancing each other out. And I feel like he feels like so much curriculum has to be touched upon that we expect these kids to do so much. I had a formal observation, and the principal said, you guys wanted these students to come up with a paragraph in 10 minutes. And she said, I can't even do that. And that was my thought process as well. But my co-teacher wanted to do it because that's how fast-paced he moves in his class. But I feel that it's because he feels so much pressure to get through so much work. And it's very unfortunate because I feel like the teaching starts to suffer, the learning starts to suffer. And instead, we should focus on our students' needs and assuring that they're understanding. What's the point of getting through so much curriculum if they're not really learning? That's just my opinion on it. Um, Another thing that I thought was really wrong is where the article says, what's wrong with this kid? Um, and it's talking about how a lot of the time when a student's not learning, the automatic answer is, oh, we need to refer them to special education. And a lot of the time, we just need to realize that kids learn differently. And sometimes just an accommodation will make such a huge difference. And I've been in a lot of meetings where teachers say, oh, I got stuck with all the IEPs. And oh, my kid's not learning, and I'm frustrated because they are clearly special ed and not referred. And I get kind of angry actually, because I feel like just because a student's not learning or you have kids that learn differently doesn't mean that everyone is special ed. We're also unique, and yes, it's hard. I get it, but that's not always the answer, and that's also not always the outlet. Lastly, it said that RTI should not be a program to raise student tests, but test scores, but to focus on helping students and their hopes and their dreams. And I think that's exactly what RTI is. And it should, the tiers are there so that students progress and they can see it. We can see it. We can see their growth. We collaborate with other teachers and provide all the support that these students need. And I think that that whole test scores is really such a negative part of our education. I just got through doing district benchmarks for my district, and my students were not, they're failing. They're students that are not going to be at meeting standards, and that's okay because they're learning. And so much emphasis is put on these scores, and it's really unfortunate because I think more emphasis should be on the development of our students, the development of them progressing as individuals as well as being educated. And that's my goal as a teacher. That's where my priority lies. And I hope that many of you feel the same way. Thanks for listening.